An Omega Level Mutant is defined as a character who has the most powerful genetic potential of their mutant abilities, and is often seen as a mutant with an exceptional level of power. The term was coined in 1986's Uncanny X-Men issue 208, but wasn't further elaborated on until the 2001 X-Men Forever series. But even then, one could argue that the description was vague. Omega Level Mutants have proven to wield a variety of abilities, from highly destructive energy projection, extreme manipulation of matter, time and space, high psionic abilities, reality warping, and even immortality, to name a few. Now despite this, the comics have confirmed a handful of characters who are Omega Level Mutants, all of which are compelling and awesome in their own unique ways. So today we are taking a more detailed look at those characters with our list of the top 10 Omega Level Mutants. Let's get to it. Starting us off in at number 10, Vulcan. Vulcan, who was first introduced in X-Men Deadly Genesis issue 1 in 2006, is the younger brother of Cyclops and Havoc, and compared to his siblings, he is a baddie. Vulcan, aka Gabriel Summers, had a much more tragic origin story than his brothers. After his mother Catherine Summers was abducted by the Magister of the Shi'ar Empire and was killed by him, the unborn child inside of her was removed, that's Vulcan, and then placed in an incubation accelerator, which is normally used to breed slaves. Later, Vulcan would escape after being aged to an adolescent, and was found by Moira McTaggart with little to no memories of his past. Vulcan is capable of a whole lot. His powers include vast energy absorption, manipulation, transformation, and projection, all of which he does psionically. He can also control exotic energies like Cyclops' optic blast and magical energy. He has limited superpower replication and repression, force field projection and manipulation, psionic resistance, and life support and limited regeneration. Fun fact, Vulcan became an Omega Level Mutant when he absorbed a massive amount of mutant energies from M-Day. Moving on to our next number, in at 9, Elixir. Elixir is a character who first appeared on Marvel's panels in 2003 in New Mutants Volume 2, Issue 5. He is capable of controlling the biological structure of any organic matter, which also includes his own body, an ability that is dependent on his proximity to said matter. Naturally, this allows him to have great healing abilities, but he can do much more than that. Elixir can boost and restore mutant abilities, he can cause welts and boils to appear on an individual, he can manipulate the life forces of others, create tumors, cure the legacy virus, cleanse the body of toxins like drugs, and even cause death. He's also practically immortal, with his abilities allowing him to resurrect himself, be reborn into a new body, or just regenerate on a cellular level. Must be nice. And it's not just himself that he can resurrect. He was able to affect the 16 million deceased mutants on Genosha, all at once, and was capable of resurrecting them according to Magneto's speculation. The Stepford Cuckoos also transferred Beast's knowledge of anatomy, biology, and genetics into his mind, furthering his capabilities. The one downside though is that Elixir can pass out after pushing his powers too far. Moving on to number 8, Legion. Legion, aka David Charles Haller, is the son of Professor Xavier, who is known for his severe mental illness, specifically his dissociative identity disorder, in which each of his alternate personas controls one of his superpowers. Legion first appeared in New Mutants issue 25 in 1985, and his powers include reality warping, shapeshifting, matter manipulation and transmutation, energy manipulation, telepathy, telekinesis, teleportation, and time travel. But here is where things get interesting. His multiple personality disorder is rooted in his telepathy. Because of this, he can absorb other people into his mind if he is right next to them when they die. The manifestation of his individual powers are associated with a different alter ego, each which controls a different power. The culmination of all his personalities and their powers makes him one of the strongest mutants in existence. After the Age of X, Legion was given a neural switchboard wristband, which allowed him to key in a number which stimulates cells in his thalamus and neocortex, creating a one-way link between his mind and one of his sub-selves. This lets him utilize his power sets without being overwhelmed by his other personalities. Moving on to number 7, Psylocke. Psylocke is a mutant who has the ability to construct weapons made of psychic energy, typically in the form of a blade. But that is not all. She has precognitive powers and is capable of telepathy and telekinesis. But let us backtrack for a sec. In her earlier appearances in Uncanny X-Men, she was capable of telepathy, reading, and projecting thoughts over long distances, and capable of manipulating people's minds even to the point of possessing them. She could also affect people's memories, project mental illusions, subdue, and tap into others' powers. Now flash forward to her physical transformation into a Japanese ninja assassin. Yes, that is a whole other story. She gained highly developed fighting skills, and later in the Dark Angel saga, her full psionic potential was unlocked by Jean Grey, but the Jean Grey who originated from the Age of Apocalypse timeline, with it being noted that Psylocke is now a telepath on par with both Jean Grey and Charles Xavier. In at number 6, Mr. M. Mr. M is a character who first appeared in 2004 in District X issue 2. and is an Omega Level Mutant who is capable of telekinesis, telepathy, energy projection, and the psionic manipulation of energy and matter on a subatomic level. He has complete control over the atomic and subatomic structure of matter and energy. M has manipulated and generated lightning, fire, and explosions. He's become intangible, has repaired machinery, created force fields, removed and augmented mutant abilities, has created and evolved lesser life forms, and even has displayed mind control. All in all, dude is pretty impressive. Up next at 5, Exodus. Exodus is a supervillain who first appeared in X-Factor issue 92 back in 1993, and was born in the 12th century in France. He would become Magneto's right-hand man after the iconic villain freed him from the crypt that he was locked within by Apocalypse. A previous member of the Brotherhood of Mutants, his abilities include telepathy, telekinesis, teleportation, an accelerated and regenerative healing factor, superhuman physical attributes, and of course he is immortal. It's speculated that his high power levels may have been a side effect of tampering done by Apocalypse. Exodus once used his mind control powers to command a dozen X-Men to instantaneously fall asleep. He is proven capable of countering reality manipulation, and his powers are too strong to be absorbed by Rogue in their entirety. In addition to that, in the presence of Magneto's acolytes, his powers have proven to excel further. During Avengers issue 369, he simultaneously crushed Genosha via a massive force field, immobilized Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Crystal, and Jean Grey in a different force field, resisted Professor X's telepathic control, protected himself from physical attacks, and dished out psionic damage to members of both the X-Men and Avengers team. That's all at once. Not too shabby, huh? Up next at 4, Quentin Quire. Quentin Quire, aka Kid Omega, made his debut in New X-Men issue 134 back in 2003. Initially, he was a bit of a bad egg during his time at the Xavier School, starting up his own gang known aptly as the Omega Gang. But more recently, he was a member of the Fresh Start iteration of the West Coast Avengers, putting his psionic powers to good use. So what exactly do his skills entail of? Well, he has advanced cognitive and telepathic abilities that allow him to construct and organize his thoughts at an incredibly fast rate. He can manipulate the minds of others, both overtly and covertly, resist mind probes, and disable other forms of psychic manipulation. Now, according to Charles Xavier, his powers are deep and subtle, and he's able to influence the minds of those around him. Similar to Psylocke, he can manifest his abilities to create weapons like a psychic shotgun or explosives. And at 3, Nate Gray. Nate Gray came to be during the Age of Apocalypse story event. He's an alternate version of Cable who hails from Earth 295, the world in which that event occurs. He is the biological son of Scott Summers and Jean Grey, born from genetic tampering by Mr. Sinister. And unlike Cable, thanks to not being infected by a techno-organic virus, he was able to achieve his potential with his telepathic and telekinetic powers, making him one of the most powerful mutants in existence. So what exactly can Nate Gray do aside from what we've already mentioned? Well, he can manipulate energy and matter, he is capable of psychometry, precognition, teleportation, astral projection, cross-dimensional travel, and energy projection. Sinister had originally designed him so that his powers would inevitably kill him, but after traveling through multiple dimensions, he acquired a special genetic dampener that would prevent that from occurring, and even allowed his abilities to excel further, letting him view and traverse higher planes of existence. He was once measured as having a psionic energy output that matched that of the Dark Phoenix. But after opening a portal to Sugarman's home reality, he gained acute nerve damage, which almost burnt out his entire power set. Moving on to 2, Jean Grey. Jean Grey's presence on this list should be a given. As one of the initial X-Men members, she's been kicking around in the comics since 1963's The X-Men issue 1, born with telekinetic and telepathic powers. Unable to cope with the full scope of her abilities, Charles Xavier would suppress her access to them, focusing on her psychokinetic abilities while training her instead. But the real reason she's on this list is thanks to the Phoenix Force, which amplifies her powers in an astounding way. Initially, the introduction of the Phoenix was a manifestation of her true potential. But as time went on and multiple retcons occurred pertaining to the Phoenix Saga, Jean and the Phoenix Force became separate entities from one another, with Jean acting as a host, but a unique one at that. She's the only character to ever force the Phoenix against its own cosmic will to do her bidding. According to Women of Marvel Celebrating 7 Decades Handbook, I quote, "While empowered by the Phoenix Force, Jean has total telekinetic control of matter at the molecular level, allowing her to manipulate atomic structures on a universal scale. She can generate any form of energy in seemingly unlimited amounts, as well as absorb energy from sources as great as a supernova, or even convert her physical form to pure energy and back again. The Phoenix Force can also resurrect the dead under some conditions, and absorb the life force from other sentient beings to bolster its own." And last but not least, in at number 1, Franklin Richards. Franklin Richards is perhaps one of the most impressive characters on our list, primarily due to his young age. He is the son of Reed Richards and Sue Storm from the Fantastic Four, whose powers over the years have been established as one of the strongest skill sets to appear in Marvel Comics. Franklin can warp reality to the extent that any thought or desire he has, he can bring it to fruition, even on a cosmic scale. He can rearrange the molecular structure of matter and energy at will, and can even create a pocket universe, which he did one time, subconsciously, which was a replica of Earth 616. Here's where it gets fun though. Several cosmic entities, the likes of Eternity, Infinity, and Galactus, have noted that he is on par with Celestials in terms of his power levels. While it's unknown how far his powers may take him in adulthood, we have seen an older version of him from Earth 4280, who destroyed 2 Celestials in combat, and then rubbed shoulders with Galactus, looking out into the galaxy, noting that billions of years from now, the two of them will witness the birth of a new universe. So yeah, that implied he was immortal. It's fun. Which of these Omega Level Mutants do you adore? Let us know in those comments below. If you dug this list, spread that love, hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to Top 10 Nerd for more videos just like this one. In the meantime though, thanks for watching friends, I'll catch you all in the next one.